Okay, we're at 1 minute past the hour, so I'm going to get started. I'm just too excited. There's too much in today not to get started straight away and start with this fantastic agenda of speakers and information that we've got to pass on to you all. So welcome to our M365 Community Day. So anyone that is a regular to the Cambridge Power Platform user group knows that once a year we do a full day event. We've done Power Platform boot camps in the past where we have 8 or 9 speakers during the day. And this year we really wanted to focus on something close to my heart and obviously that I'm trying to be quite influential in as an area. For me, women in tech is really, really important. And to stress, it's not about exclusion. There are some guys in here. We've got the lovely Luke in the background helping us with the call. We've also got Sancho Harker, MVP, in the background as a moderator for us. It's about inclusion. So it's about including as many people, as diverse an audience as we can, and celebrating the success of women in tech. So we've got some fantastic speakers today, and it's my job to introduce and to mediate and to make sure that everybody is having a good time. But I also wanted to introduce you to a couple of faces. I don't know if you can bring yourselves on screen, Luke. We've got Luke and Amber, the lovely Luke and Amber in the background, working away. There they are. Amber's been dealing with all of our administrative and speaker liaison. Thank you so much, Amber, for everything you do. And Luke is my techie. So he's in the background making sure that everybody that needs to speak can speak and all the presentations are running smoothly. So thank you very much to my fantastic team there in the background. Okay, let's get started. Let's jump straight in. So what we've got for you on the agenda to, oh, yeah, good point. Okay, so we always must be aware that we are in a meeting with others. We need to be friendly and patient and all of these things on the screen. Now, it goes without saying that when you're in presentations with first-time speakers and when you've got speakers that have taken time out of their life to either record or to attend and discuss something with us, that we need to be kind and considerate. But today we do have a lot of first-time speakers, so I'm especially asking today for a little bit of patience and understanding should we have any technical issues or speaker wobbles. They happen, and I really want to give these speakers the opportunity to come and pass on their skills and their knowledge. So let's be nice, let's be kind. We are on a webinar, so you can't interrupt the speakers, but we do have chat going down. I say here because it's there for me. We do have the chat going on down the side. Feel free to ask questions during sessions as well. Where possible, and if it's appropriate, I'll interrupt the speakers or Luke will, and we'll ask that question directly of the speaker during session. But where it's more appropriate, we'll leave those questions to the end. If you do put something inappropriate in chat, we reserve the right to remove you from the meeting. Also, please be aware that we are recording and that this will go on to YouTube at the end of the day. So if you don't want to be on that recording when you come, should we take you off mute or bring you in to ask a question, if you don't want to be on camera, then please don't turn your camera on because this is being recorded. There you go. Exits are here and here. Okay. So this is the agenda for today, loads and loads to get through. I'm going to do a small introduction about me and how I got to where I've got to in life. And then we've got Cheryl and Daisy, fantastic mother and daughter duo, really looking forward to this session. Moving on to some Viva topics, we've also got Viva Suite coming. We've got our fantastic, and I know she was in the chat, I don't know if she's disappeared already, fantastic keynote speaker, Charlotte Light, who I've had the pleasure of working with at the Aztec Group, to come and tell us about her story of success in technology. And then after a break, we're going to look at Syntex, we're going to look at Teams, we're going to look at OneDrive, Outlook, and accessibility. All really important topics, just showing you the diversity of skills that we've got in the women that are coming to speak for you today. So let's crack on, because I'm already eating into my own time. Not much to say about me. Hopefully those of you that have attended before know me. If you don't, ping me, find me on LinkedIn or on Twitter and let's chat. If you're enthusiastic and love all things Power Platform or business applications like I do, then let's have a coffee. virtual or otherwise. I'm based in Cambridge in the UK, so I'm really easy to get hold of. A little bit about me. So I'm a CEO of Business Cloud Integration Limited, who are the developers of Casper 365, one of the sponsors of today's session, and who you'll probably see in the background of my screen. I'm a massive evangelist of the Power Platform and Office 365, SharePoint Online. SharePoint in particular is where I come from, hence being known as SharePoint Sharon on LinkedIn. I'm a dual MVP this year, both business applications and M365 apps and services, which also encompasses the team's workloads. So I spend a lot of time and get some swag from Microsoft to work with them on new iterations of product, what's coming next, and making sure that we're out there sharing the information about how to use those products in the marketplace. So I'm very much a speaker that is concerned with business value. So Getting to Value Faster, the title of my book, which I'm still writing, will be coming out hopefully in the next 12 months. But very much my focus is around how we make businesses success. And it's become very clear to me over the last few years that that only happens when people have the opportunity to share their skills and to share their stories. And what better platform than a Women in Tech platform to show what powerful speakers we have out there, what information we have to share both with businesses and from businesses to help make everybody in the tech community successful. So my role here is really to pay it forward. So as a community leader, my job is to bring together everybody to share their information and to make sure that we're all doing that in an environment that is inclusive and is diverse. So as a woman in technology, I've been there. We've all been there, where you are the only woman in the room, or you are the only techie in the room, or sometimes you're the only techie woman in the room. And it was scary for me in my younger years. As I've got older, I don't let that worry me as much. But I'd love to see more women coming into those rooms, coming into those environments, so that it's no longer an issue. My hope is that that's less of an issue today as it was when I first started out. But we need to get better, and we need to make technology an accessible career for those coming into or considering as they come out of education which career to come into. So a career path in technology is one of my key goals to introduce women to. So today, like I say, we're going to show you those that are at the start of that journey and those that have succeeded in that journey, specifically Charlotte, who's going to come along and tell us what it's like to be at the top in one of the organisations with a tech role. And I'm really looking forward to her session. Okay, everybody, welcome back. We are ready to kick off our next session. So we're about halfway through now. Had 4 speakers, 4 more to come. And the second 4 are going to get nice and technical. So we've got some Syntex stuff coming up. We've got some stuff on Microsoft Teams, accessibility, and some Outlook tasks and to-do integration with OneNote. So really looking forward to what we've got left of the day. Thank you so much for joining us on the M365 Community Days Women in Tech event. This is the full day event from the Cambridge Power Platform user group, and we're really excited to bring some new speakers to this afternoon's session. Let me introduce to you Diva. Are you on the call, Diva?
Yes, sir, I'm on the call.
There she is. Marvelous. Okay. Are you ready? Let's bring up your profile and have a look at what you've been up to. Lovely job. Okie doke. So again, for those that are watching this online, here's a nice introduction of what Diva's been up to. But I'll let you introduce yourself. We've got some contact details on here as well, which will pop in the chat and at the bottom of the video. So let me just hand straight over. If you need anything, I'll be here in the chat. If you could ask questions in the chat, and then we'll either interrupt or we'll add those to the end of the session. So without further ado, I'll hand over to you. Let us know all about Microsoft Syntex.
All good.
Yeah, looks really good. So this is a reimbursement form. A reimbursement form is nothing but where we submit our expenses to the company, where if we travel or do some certifications. So This reimbursement form is specifically for the event that I have traveled for Microsoft 365 Coimbatore speaking event. And the details are, I have filled those details and there is a itinerary attached to it. If you see this, this is my flight itinerary and the details that are actually part of this itinerary, I have filled it manually and saved it. Now, the other person or my manager has to come, open this attachment, check if if the data is matching with this or not, and then either approve it or disapprove it or reject it. So basically, the problems you can see here is whatever the data that is already part of this itinerary, I'm updating manually, and some person like a manager should verify this data whether it is correct or not. So every time I submit something, he has to go open this itinerary, check if the data is perfect or not, and then approve it or reject it. So we require a manual validation and an approval system. Now we will consider second scenario. Consider this is a large pharmaceutical company where it takes orders from various vendors. So since it is from various vendors, the company might not have a track on the format of the order. Vendor one format can be very different from vendor two format, and the types of documents that they use for generating these orders can also be different. For example, it can be in PDFs or it can be in Word documents, or they can simply click some photo, send it in a embed it in a Word or PDF and send it for placing the order. And sometimes it can be simple paper-based format. So in order to, if this company needs to extract information or do some report on all the orders that is placed in a specific quarter, it has to write different piece of code in PDFs. It has to write different piece of code in Word documents, and somehow we have to get it extracted from the scanned documents as well. So this is the scenario 2 and the potential problems. In order to understand or how do we solve these problems, first we need to understand the types of data that can come towards a company. So let me move back to next slide. So data can be a structured format. Structured by means, so this is a Aadhaar card in India. So you can call it as personal identification card. And India is a country of many languages. So even if you see here English, it might be different from one state to another. So a person, if a new person has to come and identify where the name is, he definitely knows that the name would be here, date of birth would be here, and gender would be here. Because throughout my country, the format of this document is same. This name would not come here at any cost. This is called structured data, where the template is completely predefined. And we will have something called as unstructured data. For example, consider this credit note. This credit note talks about lending an amount of 20,000. This is the symbol for Indian currency. So you can say it as 20,000 euros to a person named Naveen Singh on a specific date with some rate of interest and bearing this personal identification number from a company called Finon Finance Services. Credit note 2, if you see, it carries the same data. The person name is same, the Aadhaar card number is same, and the amount is same and the date is same. But the challenge is the date formats are different. The data is scattered. Like at one place it is here, at another place it is here. The personal identification number is here, personal identification number is here. So here you cannot follow a templated structure. You have to instruct your program to extract data based on certain rules. This is called unstructured data. Whereas semi-structured, it is a combination of both structured and structured and unstructured. Now, in order to, if we start programming for these scenarios, these challenges that we saw, where we have multiple types of documents, data scattered across the documents, you would not it would be thousands and thousands of lines of code. So what we will do is we'll take the help of AI model. Now, first we'll see how a typical AI model will work. all AI models start with creation of a model. Even your ChatGPT, it works with in behind scenes, it is a model that has been created, and you have to give some sample files, say your training files. For example, like for ChatGPT, you will ask some data. If it is not correct, you will always correct it. You have an option to correct it. So that sample data would have been provided by its programmer, and you have to write some rules or identify your metadata based on certain rules. It can be for some complex arithmetic calculations, or it can be just your placeholder in a template. And then you can test your models. Once you test the models, you will have something called as accuracy or confidence score. So this confidence score would vary from business to business, person to person. And depending on this confidence score, either you can choose to re-upload some more sample files so that you get better score, or you can choose to apply models. For example, if for a business, for a banking sector, if this model is if this accuracy percentage is up to 60%, probably you would not consider it. We might need to shoot it up to for 90%. So you have to upload some more, say, loan files, or some more annual reports to better extract the data. Now we will see the topic of the day, how Syntex helps us. I hope I'm not going too fast. If anyone has any questions, you can stop me and ask me, because this is kind of tricky and intensive. Hope all is okay. Now the topic of the day is Syntex. So what is Syntex? Syntex is nothing but a AI-based implementation that extracts data from the documents, even if it is a Word, PDF, or it is mostly Word and PDFs. It extracts the document and put the metadata, whatever we wanted to extract, into a SharePoint library. Now, how does Syntex work? Syntex was actually part of Microsoft Cortex project, which is nothing but bringing their AI capabilities to my M365 tech stack. So Syntex works mostly with M365 tech stack, and it works with OCR. OCR is nothing but your optical character recognition. So with OCR, you can read data from words, PDFs, and also from images. So this helps us to solve the problem of extracting data inside the image. Now we know about Syntex. Let's see how Syntex deals with the data. So for structured data, it has something called as layouts method, whereas for unstructured data, it has something called as teaching method. And for preform data, it has something called as preform selection method. You will see what each mean, but for layout method, it is nothing but we have to identify the place where your data exists. Whereas for unstructured method, you have to give some rules on how this extraction or how this data has been done. Whereas preform, it is still in preview mode and is and I can say it is of limited usage right now. So for demo, I would not do live because it takes a lot of time to train the model. I will play one video. Give me 1 second. But I hope it is clear till now. Let me know if you have any questions, please.
Sorry, Diva, I can't see that.
Sorry. No, I haven't started that.
Okay.
1 second. I'm just figuring out where my video is.
Okay.
Let me know once you see it.
Yeah, well, we can see all kinds of things. There you go.
So here it started doing. Also, let me know if this is lagging as well. Is it audible?
Yep, we're watching the video of going through each of the invoices.
Just to let you know, we can't hear it.
Okay, then.
I think you
in
just
that
need to
case,
share your sound as well. But there's literally no rush.
There's an option to share your sound as you share the screen, Divya. So you'll need to stop sharing and then reshare, and then there's a little tick box just in the top right corner.
can you confirm it is here now?
No, I think you're going to have to talk over it and just explain
I'll
what's
talk
going
over
on.
it. No worries. I'll do it. So this is a collection of sample files that I would be using to demo the layouts method. To use the demo, I will just be extracting date, invoice number, and the customer ID. So to do this extraction, we have to go back to our SharePoint Syntex content center, and we will start over from there. Here you have to click on create a model, and use the layouts method since we are focusing on that right now. And give a model a specific name. For this demo, I'll give it as invoice M365. It takes a while to create the model. So at this part, you have to identify what data that you are planning to extract from that document. Since I was planning to extract date, I have created a field called date, and the second is invoice number. I have created an invoice number, and last is customer ID. I'll call it as CFD. Click on next. Now, for all the ADATM types of documents, since all the ADATM documents that you have seen in that folder, they are of same template, you have to create a collection for it. Say, for example, if you have a document of slightly different template, probably you have to create a new collection. So all documents which is of same template, those should belong to a single collection. So I'm adding the documents in the background. Probably you will not see that. Uploading the documents, all my sample documents is what I'm using for uploading. Since we are talking about layouts method, it is important for us to correctly tag the documents. So how do we tag? We just need to select the data that we are trying to extract and mark it. So I here selected the date, and I will mark it as a date field. and this I'll call it as invoice number. So these are the fields that we have created in the previous step, and this we call it as CID. And we have to repeat this step for all the 5 documents. And for layouts method, it is mandatory that we need minimum of 5 positive documents. We would not need any negative documents here, but 5 positives. So here I will be elaborating about all the documents, tagging. And now for the 4th document, same thing. Once we are done with the training or tagging the documents, we have to start training the model. This would take some time. Probably in the video, you would not see that lag because I would have cut it. But this would take like a significant amount of time. And once it is done, you see that your model is still in training. Once this is done, you have something called as confidence score. In the AI model I was talking about confidence score or accuracy percentage. For this model, whatever I have trained, it says it is 99%. I mean, I have tagged it correctly, so it was 99% accurate. And for all the 3 metadata, it is individually 99%. Now, next step would be publishing. So where would we publish? We would be publishing it to some SharePoint library. It's also takes some time. So I have we created a library, and I'll be using the same library to publish this model. And I have navigated to this library. Now I'm uploading a different documents other than that I have trained, and we will see Syntex is automatically able to expand the document. But before we proceed any further, this is a simple document library that I have created. I haven't populated any date or invoice or CID field. As soon as I publish it, whatever the fields that is part of the model would automatically come here. And apart from that, we will also have something called as classification date. It says that whether the data from the document has been extracted. Sorry, it says that when or what date the data from the document has been extracted. It again takes a few minutes because these are AI models and it takes time. Probably a couple of more refreshes. So here you see the data that is part of the document has been extracted. Just for me to show you that sample, I'll just go back. So this is the document that I have uploaded. If you see item 6, and this is the data that has been extracted. So you can compare here. November, the date, the invoice number, and the CID. CID is nothing but the customer ID. And you have this classification date field that has been populated. So I'm nothing but comparing it. So this is how form processing works. Whereas I'll just quickly go back to my slide. Whereas earlier it was called as form processing. Now we are calling it as a layouts method. Now we will see how to deal with the unstructured data. The difference between the structured data and unstructured data, it's just nothing but you would not have the data in specific template, or you would have multiple templates. Like for example, I'll show you how it is. I hope you still see my screen. So this is an example of, though it looks very structured. For example, if I need to extract the data from here, as well as from here. So that let that come back. So if you see, the structure of these documents is different. So with unstructured model, we will try to see how we are trying to extract the data from this. And unstructured model would require like a lot of manual efforts. It is not as easy, not as quicker as teaching method. So keep it simple. I'll try to extract invoice number, which is nothing but this one, and also I'll try to extract the total due, which is part of these two documents. Here you see. So now we will see how to start with unstructured data. I'll go back to my video because creation of these models, tools and all would take a lot of time. So I'm now back to my Syntex Content Center, and we'll start with the creation of model. Again, you go back to your Content Center, start with model. Now you use something called as teaching method. You have to give a name. It should be unique. The model name should be unique. Just to for this demo, I have named it as invoice unstructured. Okay. For unstructured, it is always necessary to give 5 positives. 5 documents that belong to this model and 1 negative document. Say, for example, if I'm trying to train the model for loans, I have to give 5 positive documents that belong to loan template and 1 document which is very close to loan template, but it's not actually a loan template. Say, for example, 5 documents that belong to loan template and 1 document that belong to pension template. This is just a banking scenario that I was talking about, but this can be applied to any other scenario. Say for in Pharma, if you are trying to get it trying to read 5 orders, you can upload 5 order templates, say 5 documents which contain order details and 1 document which contain invoice details. So 5 positives and 1 negative is mandatory. But as and when there is a change in the template, you have to upload that specific document and train it as well, or classify it as well. I have already uploaded the documents in this specific example, so I'm just re-uploading it or adding it to it. Now the first step of this would be, sorry, I'm just trying to be in sync with the video, sorry. So these are 5 positives and 1 negative is what I call it as. So the next step of this would be classify the file. We have to tell this model that these are 5 documents that belongs to this model, and this is one document that doesn't belong to that model. So the next step would be the same. So it's the same. What types of files fall into this? For example, Adatum is not of this type, so I'll just go here and say no. Whereas for other documents, I'll say yes, it is my type, or it is of invoice unstructured type. And I have to repeat this for all the 5 files. Any questions still here? I'll take it as a no and proceed. Now, next step would be creation of the extractors. So what are extractors? Extractors are nothing but the attributes or the column types that you are planning to extract from the document. Like in the previous case, it was date, PID, and invoice number. But here it is invoice number and total. And this part is very much similar to the earlier. We have to mark what is our invoice number. Say, for example, in AdTerm, we don't have that label. So I'll just go ahead and click on no label. Here I have to identify what is my invoice number. This is my invoice number. And if you closely observe, this is not my invoice number. Only the first one I'll consider as my invoice number. I have to repeat this for all positive documents. And the next part of this is how do we identify that this is our data. Previously, earlier, it is just that we have to mark it. Now here we have to create rules for it. How do we identify that? In order to do that, Microsoft itself provides us with some built-in templates. Either you can use it or you can write your own from scratch. Even to write your own from scratch, it supports certain types, which we will see in this video. So how do I tell this model that this is my invoice number? So I'll tell this model that whatever is postfixed with invoice number, mark it as my invoice number. So if you see here we have some predefined set of templates that are ready to use. And here I'm using something called as before number label. It is nothing but saying that my data comes something prefixed with this before label. If you see down, it automatically populates what it is prefixed with. Now I'm just adding invoice number so that, yeah, just to be safe. Now, once you click on save, it automatically starts training and it says mismatch. Why it says mismatch is it identified two invoice numbers. I have labeled this just this, but now it has taken this as well. So what I'll do is I'll create one more explanation or rule which says that my label should be postfixed with this. So I'm using a template called after label. So I'll say my data is postfixed with something called as layout table. Just to keep the previous things are automatically generated. Just to keep it to be dynamic, I'll just say it as a layout table or layout. Now I'll click on save and try. Now if you see, the accuracy percentage has increased to 100%. And if you see the evaluation part, it is a match. Earlier it was a mismatch and we had something called as two labels. Now it is just taking whatever I have marked as. If you go one step back, it would be something like 50 or 60%. And now we can either go straight with testing. Testing would be optional in order it absolutely not needed. So I'm just going ahead and starting with something called as total, the total due that I'm trying to extract. Again, the same procedure. I have to identify what is my total. Since addition 2 doesn't belongs to my model, I call it as no label. And for doc1, I'll call the 1200, whatever you see here as, sorry, total due, whatever you see here as, I'm marking it. And that has to be repeated for all the documents. And I'm repeating this for other documents. Just a casual check. Am I audible and is the screen still visible? The video? Hello? Can anyone respond to me?
Sorry, I'm here.
Is my video visible, Sharon? Sorry.
We can see your Teams at the moment. You've got everything on the screen. So you want to minimize that.
How about this? Is it visible?
We can see this, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm continuing with the model labeling. This is called labeling of extractors or labeling of your attributes. Once I'm done with it, I have to go with train part of it. So how does this work? This actually uses the OCR, and if you see the original, like one step back, you click on view original. Actually, it shows you the actual document. That layout would be completely different from what you are seeing here. So if you see the layout here is different from whatever you see here. This is because of the OCR capabilities, and it is how OCR reads your data. So you have to correctly or carefully identify what your data is. Otherwise, again, this accuracy percentage, which you see N by A here, would go down. And now I proceed to the next phase, which is nothing but training phase. And here, now you have to tell how do you identify your data. So I'll start with, again, creation of the rule. And I'll start with some same concept called as before label. I'll just add it. If you scroll down, you see that total you populated. You would not need that 600 subtotal. You'll go ahead and click on save. You see the accuracy percentage is 83 because there is one mismatch. Yeah, doc3 has a mismatch. So you have to see what has happened during the mismatch. During the labeling process, I have labeled it wrong. I have labeled it under subtotal. So it is actually total due. So this is an improper labeling. I will strike it off and mark the new label. Now I'm going back to train. It will automatically start training. And if you see, the accuracy percentage has been raised to 100%. And again, this accuracy percentage is very important as and when you work with a business. Say, for example, I work with a banking business. For me, I target it for 99%. And for some businesses, it need not be 99%. Like even in the banking business, for some models, I'm still open at 60%. It is always dependent on your business, how accuracy this percentage is. So you need not always go for 100%. Sometimes you can always settle for 60%, but it again depends on the type of business that you are working with. And next step would be applying this model to a SharePoint library. Again, I'll click on apply model. I'll choose my any site collection. I already have a library called as unstructured M365. It is a simple document library that has been created. Once the model is applied, you can see whatever the extractors or the attributes that it has been created called as invoice number or total that was actually created in the model would appear here. And also you will have some new columns called as classification date and confidence score. And you will also have something called as content type. So we'll see how this content type would change dynamically. But for now, I'm just editing this view and would be adding classification date and confidence score to the view so that you can see that how these values get populated. Now again, I'm uploading a document which is of a different type than what I have trained. Say this is called doc6. Now, if you see the content type is document, do not have invoice number or total populated. After say 2 to 3 minutes is what I can say. That is my experience with huge thousands of documents. It would generate or populate these values. Just have a note over here. The content type is document. After a couple of refreshes, the content type is going to change, and the invoice number and the total would also be having some values. And one thing to note is, wherever you are applying your model, all the extractors that you have defined would appear as 5 columns over there. So you have to ensure that the column names doesn't conflict. So this is quick in video, but this is not as quick. Now, if you see, the content type has been changed to from document to invoice unstructured M365, which is nothing but the name of my model. So behind the scenes, in background, on this SharePoint site collection, a content type would be created of type AA document. I think it is called as AA document type. And with that content type, the column names also would be getting created and populated to that content type. And once the data extraction is done, you will see this content type, the values, and also you have something called as confidence score. So this is the score that I was talking about. So this says that from whatever the training data or from whatever the documents that I have uploaded and how the training has been done, this document is 97% accurate. 97%, whatever the information that has been provided is accurate. There is a 3% chance that it is not accurate, but 97% is still a good percentage. Again, I said as it is from business to business and scenario to scenario, this changes. So for this demo, I'm going with the assumption that 97% is good and the data extraction is correct. Just to verify whether this information is correct or not, I'm going back to doc6. This is my doc6. To my SharePoint, doc6. So this is my invoice number. This is my invoice number 1111, and the total due is 300. I'm expecting that to be there, so it is 300. So the data extracted it perfectly, though the score is 97%. Now we will see for a different template. Like whatever the training has been done, all this training has been done for this template. But now we have a different template of type this. You see, with unstructured, how would we deal with different template data? Go back to my meeting. Now I'm going back to my Syntex Content Center. Now I have first thing is I have to upload the new templated document. It is not that we need 5 samples. It is just that one document which has a change in template. We need to upload it. And again, you have to classify this document as like positive documents. So to use that option, we use frame classifier. Scroll down. Mark this document as a positive document. There are some technical glitch. Now I'm going back to the extractors. In the extractor itself, again, I have to say whether this is a positive file or not. If this is my positive file, I have to say what is that value that needs to be extracted. I have marked it as 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, once you save it or move to next screen, the training would automatically start. And this document, it says that there is a mismatch. Whatever you have labeled and whatever the model is trying to extract, it is not the same. You have this problem with syntax, the rules or the explanations would collapse. So you have to zoom in a bit to see that explanations. I'll be zooming in. So now what is the change of these documents? Say, for example, this and this. It's so that it's easier. What is the change of what would be the change of labels from this document to this document? For this document, this invoice number is prefixed something called as invoice number. Whereas for this document, it is just prefixed with the word called as invoice. So if in my before label, if I update it something to invoice, it should ideally work. Let's see if it works on. Invoice. And just click on save and train. The training would automatically start. And it still says that it has a mismatch. I'll tell you why there is a mismatch. Again, going back to my samples. For this, after the extraction, if you see, it was prefixed with something called as layouts. I can show you better here. It is prefixed with something called as layouts. Whereas for this specific document, it is postfixed with something called as invoice. So I'll just add that label called as invoice. This is my after label, which is nothing but the label that is postfixed from what I have labeled. Now I'm training it again. You see there is all match, so it's a good thing, and it is 100% accuracy. So if we need to do the same thing with structured data, again you have to create a new collection and add 5 positives which belong to this doc7 template. Say, think of a scenario where we are talking about that retail or pharmaceutical system where it deals with hundreds of customers. If they each have 100 different templates, it is that with structured 100 into 5, ideally 500 different documents you have to upload, you have to label. But with unstructured, it is that only the templates that are completely different we have to upload. Say for example, template document 1, document 2 belongs or look similar. The keywords are similar. You need not update it. But if they're completely wordings are different, then you have to upload it and reprint. So for this 100 different types of vendors or 100 different order types, ideally the largest number of documents you have to upload it is 100, but it can be anywhere from 10 to 100. Say for example, in a business scenario that I actually working with, I'm working for a banking client, as I said, and I'm working for right now I'm working for something called as pension model. So for this pension model, I think they have around 58 to 60 different types of templates, but I use 16 templates to train it. I mean 16 documents to train this model. If it would have been unstructured, it would be 32 into 5 plus one negative document. So this unstructured actually makes our job easier, But again, it needs some effort to create your rules, explanations, and they have to be accurate. For example, in this specific example or for this demo, I have shown you with before label and after label, which is nothing but few strings. But you can always go for regexes. Regexes is something that I find it to be very easy. And one more thing, when you are working with unstructured model is whatever you have not labeled, though you have given it as an explanation, it will not help. For example, you have marked this as material, and this also has material. Sorry, you have marked this as material, and you have in the explanations you have said that it is prefixed with material one. This value would never appear because it is not labeled. So that is one thing that we have to take extra care of. Your labeling should be proper. If your label is not proper, your explanations cannot help us or help the model to extract it. Now, we have seen that for this document and how invoices are extracted. Now we'll see whether total due requires some change or not. So I'm going back and marking the label, the total due. This 2000 I'm marking. I'll click on print. I am not changing any explanations. It is sufficient that with existing explanations, it is able to extract the information. So this is the power of unstructured. Only the changes needs to be added. If the template or values are similar, you need not touch it. Now I have gone back to my SharePoint site where I will upload the document. You would see the document 7 being uploaded. The document 7 is being uploaded. Again, you see the content type to be document. You don't have invoice number and total, and the confidence score is empty. After few seconds, or actually after few minutes of refresh, it would start populating the values. Sorry. Okay. So it is not populating the value because we have made changes to the model, and those changes have not been applied over here. So we'll see how those needs to be applied. So actually in the video, I'll be going back to my content center. So the site collection where you create your model is called your Syntex content center, because it is of the type template of type Syntex content center. Sorry, content center. So in the previous screen, I have clicked on sync all to sync the changes that I have made, and in the next screen, so this button would come only for the libraries that has AI model applied. And these are called as primary libraries. Once the AI model is applied, it is called primary library. And you can, while uploading the document or after uploading the document, the model would trigger and extract the data. But in any case, the documents has already been uploaded and the AI model did not fix that. You can click on classify and extract. It will extract the AI model in the background, and the data would be extracted. You see the data has been extracted. So this is about AI models. Quickly move. Sharon, do I still have some time? Sharon or Randa?
Officially, you've got about 2 minutes, but I'm sure we're good.
Sorry, thank you. I'll quickly finish it. We have covered the unstructured model demo. Now we'll see which model should be used where. The structured model is nothing but your layouts model. The teaching method model is nothing but your unstructured model, and free-form processing model. This is still in evaluation mode, so I haven't talked about it much. So James, the product owner of Microsoft, has given 3 rules. if you know from where the data has to be extracted, you can go with the structured model. And if you know what data has been extracted, it is preform processing model. So once preform processing model comes into existence, it would be a lot fun. It would be a lot easier. Probably that will cover in some other day. But if you, for teaching model, you have to know how to extract the data. So you have to probably create the rules. And for licensing, structured and preform both needs AA builder credits, whereas teaching model needs SharePoint Syntex license. So it is mandatory that you need Syntex license, and it is mandatory that you have some AA builder credits. There is type of data for structured and preform. For layouts method and preform, you can use structured data, whereas for teaching and preform, you can use both unstructured data. So as I said, if it comes into existence, it is lot of fun. And languages, they both structured and teaching support 73 different kinds of languages, including the Icelandic that I'm currently working on. And if you find that you wanted the support for a specific language, you can directly write to the product owner of Microsoft. They are really helping in this scenario, because I personally reached out to them on many scenarios, and they have given it as a features in the releases. Now, the last slide is about add-ons with Syntex. So if I dig deep into it, it itself would require so many demos. So I would not go deep into it, but I'll give you a link where you can get more details of it, or I'll compile a video and share it with you. So first one is premium taxonomy. Initially with taxonomy, we were able to import only with CSV files. But if you have Syntex license, you can also import ETL files, which I think majority of the business were using. There is content complaints. Content complaints is nothing but your sensitivity labels or your classification labels, which were part of your complaint center. Those can be applied to the model. So as and when this model is applied, the label also comes along with this document. Advanced metadata search is nothing but previously without Syntex. If you need to search for a column data, you have to go to your SharePoint search, create crawled properties, manage properties, give it for a full crawl. But with Syntex license, you just need to add the columns that you are searching for, and Syntex searches the column data and presents you in your search. But it is only for the primary library search. Primary library search is nothing but where your AA model is applied. And in order to use this facility, all the users who are using this metadata search should have Syntex license. Content assembly. So Syntex is always about extracting the data from some templates. Now, say you're starting new or you're trying to streamline your templates. So content assembly has a feature wherein you provide the document to a content assembly, just mark what are going to change. Say, for example, if you're trying to create an offer letter, and you know that the name would be changing, the person would be changing, and the compensation amount would be changing. So upload it to the Syntex and call it as a template, and it would give you a placeholders to mark your values, and you can specify it. So next time, whenever you want to create a document out of it, say for example, you wanted to release an offer, you just need to edit the properties or column values. The SharePoint Syntex would give that document, and you can just pass it on. Any questions?
We actually haven't had any questions. I think that's because everybody's been watching your demo. That was really useful though, Divya, to see how you can easily, I'm going to say trip up the model, but you didn't trip it up, but you kind of showed how it wouldn't trigger, right? And I know we've all been there if we've had a play with this. So yeah, I thought that was really useful. Thank you very much. Well done.
Before I wind up, thank you, Sharon, Cambridge Power Platform University, and all the sponsors for sponsoring this video. And thank you, Cambridge Power Platform User Group, for giving me this opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your time coming along. Much appreciated. Okay, we're actually running a little bit behind time. So Luke, could you take over and put the slide back up for me? Thanks to everybody that has attended today. Thank you to my team in the background. We have the lovely Luke and Amber who have been moderating all day and doing all the speaker prep for us. We have Sancho Harker also in the background who has been in the chat and helping out with any questions during the course of the day. And it's been an absolute delight to be your host or hostess. for the Cambridge Power Platform Women in Tech event. So the M365 Community Days have loads of events on. Please do go over to Community Days and you'll be able to see loads of events on their site, which are run by user groups and communities, and specifically, you know, those events that are community driven. So that's where volunteers like me and my team get together and ask a bunch of speakers to come along and help share and learn. So, as I said, it's been a fantastic day. Thank you to all of our speakers. We'll put all of the sessions up onto YouTube for you. Hopefully they'll be there before International Women's Day, which I think is about midweek on the 8th of March. And thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate your time here. And once again, see you soon at the next event.